Japan is a country that has fascinated the world with its unique culture, technological innovation, and economic power. With a population of around 126 million, it is the 11th most populous country in the world. Its economy, with $4.6 trillion, is the third largest in the world after the United States and China, and is known for its high-tech industries such as electronics, robotics, and automobiles. In the world of technology and innovation, Japan has been a standout performer for many years. And one of the key reasons for this is the country's commitment to research and development. Japan spent over $173 billion on R&D, which is roughly 3.4% of its GDP. This investment is significantly higher than that of the US, which spent $581 billion on R&D in the same year, but only accounted for 2.6% of its GDP. That's an impressive feat considering the size of the US economy, which is more than twice the size of Japan's, which is insane. While Japan is a relatively small country geographically, it has a population of around 126 million, making it the 11th most populous country in the world. As a result, the majority of people in Japan live in urban areas with a concentration of population in major cities like Tokyo, Yokohama, Osaka, and Nagoya. In fact, Tokyo is the largest metropolitan area in the world, with a population of over 37 million people. It is a bustling hub of commerce, culture, and technology, with towering skyscrapers, crowded streets, and a vibrant nightlife. Similarly, other major cities like Osaka and Nagoya are centers of industry and innovation, with large populations and modern infrastructure. So how can it be that there is a lot of empty land in Japan? Therefore, we know the populated and developed Japan that we're all aware of and have maybe traveled to, like Tokyo, Yokohama, or Osaka. And there's the empty and underdeveloped part of Japan that most of us are unaware of, and the difference in population and area between these two sides of Japan are genuinely enormous and potentially catastrophic for the entire country. Over 90% of Japan's population, more than 113.1 million people, live within just 15% of the country's total land, with one-third in Tokyo. This means there is a population density of the so-called urban part of Japan that takes up 15% of the land is up to 5.674 people per square kilometer on average. That means that only 10% of the Japan's population lives within the remaining 85% of the total land area. The population density in the so-called empty area is only about 68 people per square kilometer. One important factor that has contributed to the large amount of empty land in Japan is the country's geography. Japan is an archipelago. That means that it is an area that contains a chain or group of islands scattered in lakes, rivers, or in this case, the Pacific Ocean, consisting of 4 main islands: Honshu, Hokkaido, Kyushu, and Shikoku, with over 6,800 islands total and a total land area of around 378 square kilometers. These islands are situated along the Ring of Fire, a region known for its active volcanoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis. The geography of Japan plays a significant role in shaping its population distribution, as well as its social, economic, and cultural development. Japan is characterized by a rugged terrain, with steep mountains, deep valleys, and narrow coastal plains. The country is also blessed with an abundance of natural resources, including fertile soil, abundant forests, and extensive water resources. For further reasons why the Japan interior is so relatively empty is because of a long and fascinating history. It has not always been the way we know Japan now: large, densely populated cities and little population in the rest of the country. To understand this, we need to go back to the 18th century till the 16th century. During the ancient and medieval periods, Japan was ruled by a series of powerful clans and feudal lords, each with its own distinctive culture and society. They maintained the law, collected taxes, and provided for the welfare of their people. The clans typically lived in fortified castles or palaces, which are often located on high ground or near important strategic points, such as rivers, ports, or mountain passes. These castles served as both residences for the clan leaders and as centers of government and military power. Because of the rugged terrain and difficult transportation networks in Japan, many of the clans and regions were relatively isolated from each other and had limited contact or exchange with outsiders. In the late 16th century, daimyos started the process of unifying Japan and conquered and ruled over many small states. After a quiet period of time, Oba Nobunaga started his campaign in 1573. After 9 years of fighting, trying to unite Japan, he passed away when his retainer Akechi Mitsuhide ambushed him in Kyoto. In 1582, Toyotomi Hideyoshi continued the campaign and unified Japan in 1590 by conquering Hokkaido. The power passed then to the Tokugawa family, who established the Tokugawa shogunate in 1603, bringing a long period of peace and stability known as the Edo period, and ruled Japan till the mid-19th century. This maybe was a lot of information, but in this 1,600 years there was a lot of fighting between a lot of different clans that lived all over Japan. They loved to live in the mountains because it gave them a military advantage and much more safety. Luckily for them, they didn't have to feed over 100 million mouths, so it was all fine to live here. After 200 years of isolation, a fleet of ships arrived in Japan, demanding Japan to open its ports to trade with the United States. The opening of Japan to the world led to a period of rapid modernization and industrialization, with the government implementing sweeping reforms to modernize the economy, military, and society. During this time, Japan adopted Western technology and practices, transforming its economy from a primarily agrarian one to an industrialized one. As a result, more and more people moved to central points and left the so-called empty areas where they were born. After World War II, Japan was left devastated by the war, with much of its infrastructure destroyed and its economy in shambles. However, with the help of the United States and other allies, Japan began the process of rebuilding and modernizing its economy. Under the guidance of the government, Japanese businesses focused on developing and exporting high-tech and high-quality products, such as electronics, automobiles, and machinery. This strategy, known as the Japanese economic miracle, allowed Japan to rapidly grow its economy and become one of the world's leading economic powers by the 1970s. During this period of rapid economic growth, Japan also underwent significant social and cultural changes. The traditional Japanese values of group harmony and social hierarchy began to give way to a more individualistic and egalitarian society, and Japanese popular culture, such as anime and manga, gained popularity around the world. Since Japan's population has undergone significant changes. In the aftermath of the war, Japan experienced a baby boom, with the numbers of births increasing dramatically. This led to a rapid increase in the population, which peaked at around 128 million in 2010. However, in the recent years, Japan's population has been shrinking, with estimates suggesting that it may decline to around 88 million by 2065. This trend has significant implications for Japan's economy, as a shrinking and aging population means a smaller workforce and a reduced demand for goods and services. In Japan, the trend of leaving rural areas and moving to bigger cities has been on the rise. As more and more people flock to urban areas, the once thriving countryside is experiencing a decline in population. Many factors contribute to this trend, but perhaps the most significant is the lack of economic opportunities in rural areas. Younger people often seek higher-paying jobs that are more readily available in the city, leaving behind an aging population. But it's not just about jobs. Urban living also offers a more vibrant social scene with a wider range of cultural and entertainment options, from trendy cafes and restaurants to bustling nightlife. Big cities like Tokyo and Osaka offer a level of convenience and excitement that's hard to find in rural areas. As a result, rural communities are struggling to attract and retain young people, and some are even facing a potential collapse. The loss of younger generations can have a domino effect on rural economies, making it harder to provide basic services such as healthcare and education. The Japanese government is working to address this issue, with policies aimed at revitalizing rural areas and supporting local industries. But the trend towards urbanization is likely to continue for the foreseeable future, and it remains to be seen how rural areas will adapt to this new reality. Thank you for watching and learning more about Japan's rural areas and the challenges they face in the wake of urbanization. As we've discussed, the trend towards moving to cities is a complex issue with no easy solutions. So, how do you think Japan can address the problem of declining populations in rural areas? Do you have any ideas or solutions you'd like to share? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more informative content. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.